please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. We're still counting down to pre-open. Deepan Mehta is with us. SP Tulsian from sptulsian.com is also with us. Mr. Tulsian, good morning. I first wanted your thoughts on Inox. You think the market will buy the clarification from the management?
See, Anuj, if you want to just focus on the auditor resignation, then probably there are two things. One is that they have completed the audit and retiring at the conclusion of the annual general meeting. That means in the AGM, new auditors will get appointed. So sometimes, because if you really see the group company, I have taken a 360-degree perspective on the group also, that they have a different auditors in their different company. Maybe in Gujarat Fluoro they have a different auditor, in Inox Wind they have a different auditor. But so probably I won't be too much perturbed, having heard the management, they have completed the audit of FY18, because sometimes lot of consolidation and retirement and things are seen happening in the auditors firm also. And that may be the reason of that audit firm particularly resign or giving up or relinquishing the auditorship of Inox Wind. But coming specifically on the business of Inox Wind, I have been saying that, or keeping that negative view for last 1 year purely from the business model. Because if you really see the order inflow, financial performance, they have all been very, very bad, very pathetic for FY18. So probably that may be the reason, and definitely market will not be kind. Market will definitely be taking the negative, whether that negative happens at 2% to the share price fall or it happens to the 5%. But all this auditor resignation should not be now taken as a big bombshell by the investors going forward.
Okay, we'll watch out for Inox Wind. Along with the others, pre-open rates should be hitting us shortly. By the way, one more stock, ICICI Bank, I guess Anuj Market will have its eye on that as well, because the negative sort of noises surrounding that stock refuse to go away now with this whole SEC looking at the probe, etc.
Yeah, I know, but I think today, again, you'll find out that at lower level, there is again some buying in ICICI Bank, because it's none of what is coming out is now going to be sort of unknown devil. The ICICI Bank is trading at 280 because of this. Otherwise, there's absolutely no reason for ICICI Bank to be trading at 280. But yes, we would want to see how the market would react. Let's see how the currency is open, because on Friday it was quite weak, though of course towards the end there was quite a bit of recovery, and that recovery is continuing. So that is important cue, because from from the levels of 67 half thereabout, there's been quite a bit of pullback that you've seen on the dollar rupee, and today also that pullback seems to be continuing. About 0.25% is what we have on the dollar rupee. 67.46 is where it opened, but has gone even lower at this point in time. Let's just see in terms of stocks. Sun Pharma would be the stock to track, because it had the highest delivery buying on Friday. And while the street is divided on whether this is now priced in and whether it's indeed a trigger enough for the stock to re-rate from here, but for now it's up about 1%. Larsen & Toubro is up about 2%. Let's see how PNB is reacting and other PSU banks. That one would be interesting to see. That's up about 1.5%. SBI though is a bit soft, down about 1/3 of 1%.
Now this is pre-open. Let's wait for the actual rates. But Inox Wind in the pre-open, 20% down. So let's see what happens at 9:15, because the management has categorically stated that this was something that was in the making. There was a genuine issue with respect to time constraints that the auditors had. Nothing else, no modified reports coming in on the accounts that they have audited. But anyway, that's one stock that's under a lot of pressure. You have the gas stocks still holding on to the excitement. So Mahanagar Gas, IGL, some of these names could be on the upside. They're looking quite okay. Phoenix Mills is looking to buy a property, a large size acquisition, 450 crores in Lucknow. That stock's also positive on the radar. Rima, anything else you're spotting?
Well, Natco could be higher. So at least in pre-opening, it's showing a gain of close to about 3.5%. So a product approval is pushing up the price of Natco. And a couple of F&O movers, keep your eye on United Breweries Limited. That perhaps could have a positive session. Pidilite, Syntex, PC Jewelers. These are a couple of the gainers in the pre-opening.
Okay, so Tata Global down 4% and UB up 3%. So priorities are quite clear right now for people. But anyway, let's see. The oil marketing company stocks are still down. HP, BP, IOC. So that will be interesting. Deepan, your thoughts on oil marketing companies now? Of course, there's going to be a lot of value here, but this is going to be a big election year as well.
I know there could be value always because these stocks are always quoting at very low PE multiples, and actually it's a value trap. And if you look, I think recent reports have suggested that diesel growth has been just 2% and petrol consumption has been flat. So what you have a situation here is that the government is constantly interfering in the end product prices. And overall, there is hardly any growth momentum as far as the volumes are concerned. So what is the real reason why you are buying these companies? You can certainly trade in them because, if you're negative on oil, then you buy oil marketing companies. And if you are positive on oil prices going up, then you can short the oil marketing companies. I think from an investor's perspective, there is absolutely no role to play in the oil marketing company. It has to be struck off all lists of long-term investors at least. I think these companies are not run on sound business models. And end of the day, they're not going to create great value. And you can see the past track record. I think they haven't been great value creators. From time to time, the street gets very excited on them, only to be completely disappointed a few months down the line, which has just happened recently as well.
Let me extend the oil and gas conversation specifically to gas stocks, Mr. Tulsian. This is a space you've liked in the past. We've seen some aggressive price hikes come through, and there's also talk of this gas being part of GST. Which are the stocks that you think could still offer value at current prices?
See, actually, we have been keeping extremely positive view on all the gas stocks, whether you talk of the distributor or you talk of the, maybe the service provider kind of things. And if I just take a call on that, probably amongst the city gas distribution, we have MGL and IGL. And amongst the other gas stocks, maybe like Petronet, LNG and GAIL. Because if you, taking a comparative call, I agree that in IGL there has been the concept of the growth, which is in existing, and that's why we are giving such a rich valuations. But if I quickly go through the financials, if you take the IGL 5,000 crore top line for FY18 with a PAT of closer to 700 crore, while MGL had a top line of 2,500 crore with a PAT of about 500 crore. I agree that FY18 MGL had shown a constant growth, or maybe the growth was seen missing, while that was seen existing in IGL. But based on these parameters where you have the growth seen existing for the city gas distribution having presence in NCR for IGL and in Mumbai region for MGL, can you give the more than double the market cap valuations? Because both are cash rich company, debt free company, but IGL has a market cap of 19,000 crore while MGL has a market cap of sub 9,000 crore. So as I said, that double the top line, 1.5 times of the net profit, and you are giving more than 2x to the market cap or EV. So no, I'm not saying that IGL is a bad stock to hold into, because ultimately growth which matters. But MGL, post that British Gas, having sold their part stake as a part of promoter, 32.5%, they exited about 7-8% from that. Since then, the stock has corrected hugely. But I think that maybe on a relative basis amongst IGL and MGL, maybe MGL will give the better returns, but keeping overall positive view on all the stocks amongst like Petronet, LNG, IGL, MGL, GAIL kind of stocks.
MGL preferred over IGL. Dipan, once again talks have resurfaced about this bad bank or an asset management company housing all the stressed loans of the banking sector. Do you think it will take off this time, and therefore it makes sense to strategically bet on any banks, PSU banks?
See, this thing has been talked about several times in the past, and there are many pros and cons about this proposed move. But, the kind of climate that is there, especially the political climate and the fact that the government is now more or less winding down, it's difficult to make such a huge reform measure. And even if they do, the implementation could get quite patchy. As it is, we have seen whatever happened has happened with IBC. It's got struck in various, legal at the various courts, and something similar could happen with the bad bank as well. So I'm not that hopeful on this particular move having any major positive effect on the banking sector. And if it does happen and the market does receive positively, then again it's a great opportunity to exit out of the PSU banks, because sentiment perhaps may improve over there. But by and large, I think the kind of measures that were taken by the banks individually themselves, and they are making slow progress over there. So maybe in a few years' time you may see an improvement over there. But by and large, I'm not that optimistic of this particular move having a dramatic effect on the NPA problem which we are facing just now.
Okay, Mr. Tulsian, just one last question from my side on sugar stocks, Balrampur Chini. Because there's been that package, of course, and we've heard that even retail sugar prices have once again started to inch up. You think it's a good risk-reward right now on Balrampur Chini to buy, or would you avoid it at current levels?
See, Anuj, in fact, there have been dramatic development. In fact, you are right, the commodity, the grain, the sugar prices have risen by about 3 rupees per kg. In fact, what I gathered on Saturday, it got sold in Delhi or maybe in UP at about 32 to 32.50 ex-mil per kg. I'm not referring this rate for Maharashtra because which always rules 1 to 1.5 to 2 rupees lower. So that has been a dramatic rise because all the inventory which I have said, earlier also that is on 31st March, all the inventory or the stocks which were hugely held by all these mills, including Balrampur Chini, were all valued at sub 26. So definitely you will be seeing the higher realization. Taking that into account, I think the negative scene having, no more existing for the UP-based sugar mill, and maybe because Balrampur Chini is the only F&O sugar stocks available, probably that will evoke or that will, evoke the interest of the traders as well as of the investors also. So, but as a by and large, as a general rule, we are not giving a fresh buy call on the sugar stock, but those who have been holding it can remain invested because as such, if you see on 15th May, all the sugar stocks have formed a bottom, and post that the sugar stocks, UP-based sugar stocks have risen by about 16 to 20% in this about maybe 3 weeks or so. Similar is the case with Balrampur Chini also. So maybe as a stock specific, as a trader or as a near term for 4-5% upside from here, you can take a buy call on Balrampur Chini as well as on other UP sugar mill stocks also, but not with a fresh buy call being given on all the sugar stocks.
Okay. All right, Mr. Tulsian, thank you very much for that. In the pre-open, so we've settled with minor gains, 14 higher on the Nifty. Mid-cap index is looking at about a 0.25% increase right now. ICICI Bank is under pressure, and Bajaj Finance in the pre-open is the stock to keep your eye on. We were just discussing that with Anuj earlier. So, Ashwini, how do you read the picture, and what would the first approach be as things start off?
See, the open is extremely mild, so I don't think this sort of open is going to lead you anywhere. It's basically trying to look for individual stocks, and even if you see sectors, top sector seems to be realty, which is 0.5% higher. So, you have mild gains even globally. So I think the market should be at best ranging, a few sectors going up, a few going down. But I don't think by the end of it, you'll be too far away from where we are right now.
Okay, so if we open here, there's no trade Ashwini on the index. You would want to take a trade perhaps at around 9:30 if there's a trend.
The point is the trade could be if we touch, say, recent highs of about 26,800 on Bank Nifty, or we touch 10,800, 820 on the Nifty. That's where you probably look to take the other side. Don't trade it as a breakout market, because that will lead to a trap, because you can break out by 10 points and suddenly again fall. So, people will get trapped on the upside because we are close to resistance. Having said that, TV today is the call for the day. We could buy this with a stop of 466, target of 490.
Ashwini, IT is also looking fairly good, at least in pre-opening. HCL Tech and Forces in the green as we speak. Any trade?
Well, again, even IT index is sideways, 13,400, 14,000. There are no fresh triggers. I mean, whatever the rupee had to fall, that's in the price. Now, basically, I think mid-caps could outperform even this week, where quality mid-caps, try to run up. So I think the more juice maybe would be in mid-caps where there are shorts still, and there could be short covering. On the mainline indices, I think closer to upper end of the range, you don't have much.
Okay. Deepan, I wanted your thoughts on these two super stocks, right? I mean, Bajaj Finance and Avenue Supermarts. Everyone arguing about the valuations, but they keep making new highs.
Yeah, I think, but in the case of Avenue Supermarket, I think the valuation is completely out of whack. I mean, it's a bit difficult to understand how one can buy a stock at 130 times trailing 12 months. Bajaj Finance is still, I think we have had other financial stocks, HDFC Bank, HDFC in the past, trading at 40 times trailing, and investors still buying and making a decent amount of return on the money. So on Bajaj Finance, we remain very positive. It's a company in which we and our clients are invested. And although valuations are high, it's quite a distinct and different type of a NBFC with presence in virtually all the segments and dominant presence in the consumer finance segment, which offers the highest returns, and they've somehow been able to manage to contain the risk over there. So we remain positive on Bajaj Finance. Avenue Supermarket, I think investors should keep it under watch. at some point of time, I think valuations will come under levels which are sort of attractive and provide a little bit of margin of safety, and then one could get into that stock as well. But there's no denying that both these companies are great long-term secular growth stories, and at some point of time, investors should attempt to own them in their portfolio. It's just a matter of timing and ensuring that the multiple at which they get in is reasonable.
Okay, Sudarshan, your thoughts on pre-open and any interesting stock idea?
Well, the markets are opening almost flat with a mild bullish bias, and that's the way we want to trade. We have a mild bullish bias, so we would be buyers at the open after the first 5 or 10 minutes. There are two stocks that are worth buying into, and that's one is Maruti, where a small breakout is now happening, and the second is Oro Pharma, which had a large range day on Friday after a big downtrend. Because of the pharma momentum, it could be going up.
Okay, just about a minute to go. Deepan, very quickly, your call on ICICI Bank. It's still some 30 rupees away from its 52-week low. Negative news just keeps coming.
I think very difficult for ICICI Bank shareholders. I think look for opportunities to exit at every rise whenever it does take place.
Okay. Mitesh, anything that's caught your fancy in the early rates, pre-opening rates?
See, I think a couple of PSU banks are looking very good, after having seen months of decline and, they've been extremely oversold on the weekly chart. I think now they're showing signs of reversal. So PNB and Union Bank come to my list. Union Bank was also a recommendation, but PNB clearly looks like is a stock which could do well from here and head towards 100 to about 104.
Okay, Ashwini, your thoughts on ICICI as a trader, how would you approach it?
See, it has way too many problems at the moment. So maybe if it crosses 300 and a few of the problems are over, then you look at it, because the controversy, inquiry, now there's inquiry by SEC, that will not let the stock move up in a hurry.
By the way, the benchmark yield is again at 7.99. I was just placing that on record on it. So bond market still